Hi folks, and welcome to Tips for Color Pencil Drawing, a mini drawing demo. This video focuses on 3 tips to help you better your drawing skills. Tip 1. Improving your subject sketching skills. Tip 2. Developing your values. Tip 3 is a fun little tip on contour edges versus lines. Each of these tips is part of the elements and principles of art that I want to explore in these videos for building better skills and success in your work. So, thanks for joining me, subscribing, and liking my videos. I've sped up this demo video, but if you want more information on how to do this correctly, I offer drawing classes through my studio. We want to start with getting the first measurement. I'm using the main body from nose tip to end. I'm also checking the angle, and then I place that down on my sketch paper. Once I've completed these 2 main areas, I'll keep using the same technique for each section for the rest of the drawing. Each new area of the subject, I'm checking the measurement and the angle of that part of the subject. I use the main body as my measuring device. The right leg, I'm doing the same for the lower section and placing the line for the foot pad in as well. I check the head placement and then find that the head is about 1/3 of the upper section of the body. I place markers to indicate this and build a basic shape for the placement of the body. The accuracy and correctness of your shapes plays a crucial role in creating realistic drawings. I'm continuing to place the measurement for the upper part of the left leg, and you can see by the inset image that the angle is important as to how I place that line for the leg. I'm using a sighting method for all the angles and use this technique for all my drawings. The sighting method is an observational drawing technique that's been around for many years. Once I've got all my lines, measurements, and angles, I continue to build the body with more basic shapes. Shapes are one of the fundamental elements in art, and they serve as a foundation for transferring your subject from a 3-dimensional object to a 2-dimensional representation on a piece of paper. I continue the drawing by refining from basic shapes, adding contour lines, and building the body in its structure. To improve your shape drawing skills, consider practicing drawing from life. Observing and sketching real-life objects or people will help you develop a better understanding of form, perspective, and proportion as you're working from a 3D subject to a 2D surface. This trains the eye. Additionally, studying anatomy and learning about the underlying structures of the human body or the natural shapes of objects can greatly enhance your ability to accurately depict them in your artwork. I like to place a paper over the sketch and then transfer the image onto a new sheet. This will give you a more clean image without all of the initial sketch lines. Once the second sketch is complete, I transfer it to my good drawing paper, and there I can start building the form with values. Achieving a realistic look in your drawings also involves understanding and utilizing value ranges. As I keep working on this drawing, I'm paying close attention to values. But what is a value and a value range? Value refers to a tone of light and darkness in a color or subject. A value range is the light and darkness of a color from black to white. You can see by this value chart of various colors that each color has a light and darkness to them. But light and darkness can also be seen in the subject itself as the light is hitting it, creating highlights and shadows. If we look at our subject, we need to assess if it has a good value range, and if it doesn't, what can we do to fix that? I've taken our subject and I changed the value in this example to show you what a poor value range looks like. On the poor value range image, the subject appears flat and boring. But if we look at a good value range, we can see that the good value range subject appears interesting and dynamic. Value is one way to give a dramatic effect to your work. You can assess the value by one simple trick. Try squinting your eyes and see if you can notice a good value range. You should be able to see darks and lights and some in-betweens. Another way to assess value is by taking a photo of the subject and then desaturating it. You can see in this example of a poor value range what the frog looks like in black and white. Seeing the frog in black and white really highlights those values. When we look at the good value range, we can clearly see a more interesting and dynamic subject. To accomplish good value ranges, start by observing your subject and identifying the areas of the highest highlights, midtones, and shadows. In order to create depth and dimension, try to aim for at least 5 distinct value ranges in your artwork. You can block out the midtones as a starting point. Next, use different pressures and colors to create the desired values. I like to start with a light value and build up to darker colors. In addition, using a range of pressures, you can achieve a variety of tones from light and subtle to dark and intense. If you find it challenging to achieve a wide range of values, remember that you can also fake it to some extent. By using artistic license, you can exaggerate the range of values to enhance the contrast and create a more dramatic effect. Don't be afraid to push the boundaries and experiment with different levels of darkness and lightness to make your artwork pop. When it comes to creating realistic artwork with graphite or colored pencil, one important tip is to draw to the edges of your subject and eliminate visible lines on the shape of your subject. Remember, this is for when you want to create realism. There are many amazing artworks that use an outline to achieve amazing results. But for our purposes, realism in our work, we need to eliminate all sense or appearance of a line. In order to achieve this, it's crucial to show values up to the edges. By extending the values all the way to the edges, you can create a seamless and realistic effect. If an area along the edge of your subject is the same tone as the paper you're working on, erase the line completely, as in this drawing of a woman that I did. Why is this important? If you observe the world we live in, we're not surrounded by contour lines. So, leaving a defined and dark line creates an unrealistic appearance if you're looking for realism in your work. More importantly, a dark line, not integrated into the drawing, flattens the image. It looks more like a cartoon or a coloring book image than a realistic image. An edge in drawing refers to the boundary or contour between two shapes or objects. On the other hand, a line is a visible mark on the page. By focusing on edges instead of lines, you can capture the natural transition and gradations of light and shadow, which are essential for realistic representation. By carefully observing and rendering these edges, you can create a more lifelike and three-dimensional appearance. To further distinguish between edges and lines, practice drawing objects that have clear edges, such as a cube or a sphere, versus objects that have more linear elements, such as a tree branch. Understanding the concept of edges versus lines will help you hone your skills in creating realistic drawings. By focusing on edges, mastering value ranges, and ensuring the accuracy of your shapes, you can significantly improve the realism of your drawings. Remember that practice is key, so don't be discouraged if it takes time to achieve the level of realism you desire. Keep experimenting, learning, and refining your skills, and you'll continue to progress as an artist. Congratulations, and thanks for joining me as we explored 3 important tips of drawing. You can use these tips for graphite or colored pencil and work to apply each one to your needs. I hope you keep honing your skills, experimenting, and embracing the limitless possibilities of shape, values, and edges in your artistic journey. Happy drawing!